Part 44. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi-Sing Cao. Chapter 433. 431. Huo Jekan wanted to go back and check some things quickly, lest those people start making trouble again. It's okay, Uncle Huo, he Tian said, it's just that I think you need to equip some people to protect you. Haha, I will be careful. Don't worry about Tian, Huo Jekan said. Nan City hasn't reached that level of chaos yet. Zhang Lifang thought for a while and said, Lao Huo, I also think what Tian said is to be careful. Yes, brother Huo, you are the backbone of our group, He Jingyu said with concern. Shuping and I only do research and don't understand politics, but we also know that if something happens, there will be many people on the other side. You will suffer a loss. Okay, I understand, I will arrange it later, Huo Jekan said. Safety is the most important thing. Who knows what kind of splashes there will be under the calm water in Nanji. Huo Jekan went to the work unit, and Zhang Lifang sent the family of 3 away. After getting on the train left the train station and Zhang Lifang was nowhere to be seen. He Tian felt disappointed. Hey, this is our home, but here, I always feel like I can't breathe, Wang Shuping said softly. Now that I have left, I finally feel at ease. He Jingyu and He Tian looked at each other and smiled. We feel the same way, He Tian said. It doesn't matter if we leave, we can go back to Kijia village to live peacefully and not be worried here. Yes, in Nan City we will be the target of inspection at any time. In Hawaii City, Ontario, we are experts in supporting their agricultural work. Although it is hard there, I like such a busy and fulfilling life very much, not here afraid to do research. I think so too, Wang Shuping said. Today's drama was indeed done by that old godly woman. We have reported her now, but I don't know if Yang Wu has gone to search. That person got a nail in our house and almost offended Uncle Huo. He must be angry, so he will never let Mrs. Wu go. He Tian smiled and said, this is called evil people having their own troubles. If you don't do many things, you will be punished. Righteousness will kill itself. Yes, that Yang Wu is not a good person at first glance, He Jingyu said. I will definitely vent my anger, otherwise I will lose face in front of those little minions in the future. He Tian has already passed on the message from the Snake King and knows what will happen next. That Yang Wu went directly to a large courtyard in another alley, where Mrs. Wu was washing clothes. Seeing Yang Wu coming, he quickly smiled and said, Director Yang, have you found anything belonging to the He family? You don't know that the He family is very rich. If you actually treat him as a gunman, you must be aware that the gun went off and injured yourself. We searched the He family and found nothing. On the contrary, the He family said that you stole all the property of the He family before liberation, so we came to search. Yang Wupi said with a smile, comrades, search for me. Mrs. Wu was stunned, took 2 steps back in fright, and quickly knelt down. They have wronged me, they have wronged me. We just moved to this neighborhood. We used to live in the countryside. We have been poor farmers for 8 lifetimes. How can there be any good things? I ran away at first, but when Little Japan comes, I will be spoiled by those Little Japan. As for the things at home, they are not mine at all. They wronged me. Really? Let's search it first, Yang Wu sneered. With a wave of his hand, the people behind him got into the 3 rooms of the Wu family. After searching around, someone actually found a pair of jade bracelets, several red gold longevity locks, and gold hairpins. The evidence was conclusive, so Yang Wu confiscated it on the spot and took the old woman Wu away, so that the stubborn old woman Wu could receive re-education, so that she would have a deeper understanding of her mistakes. Mrs. Wu suffered such an end because she deserved it. I always thought of harming others. Now I hit a snake and got bitten by a poisonous snake. I harmed myself and my family. I deserved it. It's just a pity that the bracelet should belong to their he family. The possibility of getting it back is very small. I don't know who will get the advantage. The train drove for a day and a night and finally arrived in Dowan County. They gave 2 boxes of snacks to New Lily and New Dajan, and then they got on the fellow villagers' ox cart back to Kijia village. This old man driving the cattle cart often received work to go to Kijia village and made a lot of money. He was very happy and enthusiastic. He talked about the things he encountered while driving the cart. After arriving at Kijia village, Grandma Chi and Chi Dazu were completely relieved. There was suddenly no one at home, and Grandma Chi-san was very lonely. Now that people are here, she suddenly feels that there are many more people in the yard. He Jingyu and Wang Shuping had just rested for half a day when they were pulled by Chi Dazu to raise seedlings. Chi Dazu moved quickly and built several greenhouses near the Dawan. For these greenhouses, he went to the commune and bought a lot of plastic paper. Time waits for no one, hurry up and see if there is anything else that needs to be modified, Chi Dazu said with a smile. Because of the peach, the county has decided to start rebuilding the road immediately after the spring plowing tomorrow, and promised him that such a peach, as much as you want, don't worry about selling. Haha, it's done well, He Jingyu smiled, just a little modification. Actually, there is no need to be in such a hurry. The branches of the peach tree will be cut off in a few days, Wang Shuping smiled. Secretary Chi was so concerned about the affairs of the village and was a good cotter. When all the peaches bear fruit, Kijia village will become a well-known and wealthy village. You've been saying it for a few days. We don't have much time. We can't help with other things. Do this trivial thing well and solve your worries, Secretary Chi chuckled, looking at the thriving peach trees. I was very excited. Thank you for your hard work, Chief Chi. He Jingyu smiled, Kijia village is better. Just as he was talking, Chi Shuming took his eldest son, who is 16 years old this year, at the age where he is a middle-aged man and has to live in poverty. There was no need to work in the winter, and they would run around here and there all day without doing any serious work, so Chi Shuming and his wife made a plan and asked their son to learn to grow fruit trees from the He family and his wife. Learn some skills and become a technician in the future. Even if you can't do it, you still have the skills and can do some lighter tasks in the village. It's better than having children wandering around all day and causing trouble. You shouldn't be on duty today, why are you here? Village Chief Chi asked. Seeing Chi Rongbin behind him, he didn't understand why Chi Shuming came with his son. Haha, I'm here to ask brother He and sister Wang for something, Chi Shuming said. This guy in my family is not bad at all, but when he has free time, he just wanders around, doesn't do anything serious, and fights with others, so my family thought find him something to do. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 434. 432. Village Chief Chi had heard Chi Shuliang complain before, and nodded and said, you can't just idle around. Then what do you want to do for him? There are no work points for working now. No, I just want to learn the art of tending fruit trees from brother He and sister Wang, Chi Shuming said. A little lesson from this brat will be enough to support him for the rest of his life. He Jingyu had a good relationship with Chi Shuming. When he saw him opening his mouth, he did not refuse and said with a smile, as long as this kid is willing to endure hardship, come over and I will teach him. Once you learn this craft, you will have no worries about food and drink for the rest of your life. Chi Shuming didn't expect He Jingyu to agree so easily, and messaged, Binzi, why don't you thank you quickly, Uncle He? This is about learning a craft, recognizing the master, and kneeling down to kowtow. When Chi Rongbin saw his father saying this, he would kneel down. He Jingyu quickly stopped him and said, you don't have to kneel down. Since you call me uncle, I won't hide anything. Thank you, Uncle He and Aunt Wang. Chi Rongbin thanked him, thinking of the peaches his father had brought home before. They were so sweet that they were so delicious that he wanted to eat them on his tongue. These peaches are much more delicious than the wild fruits in the woods. Now his father asks him to learn from it, so that he can grow delicious peaches in the future, which he can eat every day, and his younger brothers and sisters can also eat them every day. Okay, since we're here, let's start working, Hijinyu said, slowly groping while working. Hey, Chirongbin said, rolling up his sleeves and starting to work on his trouser legs. In fact, Chirongbin is not an idle person, he is too diligent. He only went out to hang out when there was nothing going on at home. With Chirongbin, a diligent young man, it only took one afternoon to repair several greenhouses. After it's dry, you can put the plastic paper on it. Boy, that's good, do a good job, Hijinyu praised. He is a kid with a lot of work in hand and a clever mind. Thank you, Uncle Chirongbin smiled and said, I will study hard. When the villagers saw that Chi Shuming had sent his son to work, they guessed what Chi Shuming was thinking. If you learn well, you will be a technician. Less work, but decent. So in total, several people came to the door with their children and gifts, wanting to learn this technology. Hijinyu agreed one by one and did not refuse. There was someone to help with the work, which was a good thing. As for whether they can learn it or not, it's up to them. Anyway, everyone was there when he explained it. If you don't understand, you can ask, but he won't take the initiative to check, it's all up to them. However, at this time, the villagers were still very simple and knew that learning a craft required not only cleverness but also diligence, so the children sent here were all down to earth and willing to work. There were actually more than 20 people coming and going. There were actually some illiterate people inside. Hijinyu had a big headache, so he asked village chief Chi to talk about this situation. If a young man is illiterate, he will remain blind for the rest of his life. There is no solution. Village chief Chi heard Hijinyu's words and fell into deep thought. He didn't know the benefits of studying, but now that the school is closed, he couldn't study even if he wanted to. Now teachers are teaching, said village chief Chi. The children are blind and will not know their way out when going out. Yeah, why don't you go to your workplace and see if you can apply for literacy classes, Hijinyu said. Okay, I'll go ask village chief Chi said, if possible, we will hold a literacy class so that the children in the village can read and learn arithmetic, and they will benefit from it for the rest of their lives. He himself has read books. Although it has not been long, at least he is not blind. Village chief Chi was very concerned about this matter and went to the county town to inquire about it. When Niu Peng heard this, he banged the table and laughed loudly, saying, Brother Chi, you are so good. I just got the instructions from my superiors in my hands and you came here. It shows that you have foresight. What instructions, village chief Chi asked, has school started? It's not that the school has opened, but the superior leaders have instructed us to use the slack time to carry out literacy activities. County Chief Niu said, the village can spontaneously organize literate people to teach illiterate people, and one person can lead several people. Although classes are not open, it's good. Everyone can learn in the village without having to go to school. Village Chief Chi said, this is good. I am worried about the furry children in the village. The older children are illiterate. It's okay if you're old, but if you're young and illiterate, you can't afford to be blind all your life. Who says it's not the case? Niu Peng said with emotion. The superior leaders also saw this phenomenon, so they launched such activities. What a wise leader, village chief Chi said flatteringly. Well, I will organize it when I get back. There are a few literate villagers in the village, as well as several young people and old teachers in the city, who can teach. Wait a minute, Niu Peng said, it's better not to let those old teachers do these things, lest some people go online and let the educated youth and literate people in the village teach them. Niu Peng said this, in fact, to protect those old teachers and professors from being impacted. Okay, I remember it, village chief Chi said with a smile, Asking the old professor to help with literacy is a bit overkill. But some children, if they want to go further, you can ask them for help. Yes, that's it, Niu Peng said, only if we do things flawlessly can we avoid being caught by those people. The results of Kijia village in the past 2 years have been very good, and I have benefited from you. As long as it is related to Kijia village, Niu Peng will always receive a big credit after completing it seriously. Maybe he can take another step forward soon. I understand, brother Niu, village chief Chi said with a smile. He took the instructions and notices from the superior leaders from the commune and prepared to post them on the wooden board of the village branch to encourage everyone to read, and carry out literacy education. It is not easy to visit the county town. Village Chief Chi helped the villagers buy a lot of things to take back. When Village Chief Chi came, he was in a nervous mood, but when he left, he was in a good mood. Instead of everyone gossiping about their wives in the house, and the men smoking cigarettes and playing cards, it's better to use it for studying. After Village Chief Chi returned, he began to organize villagers to study. Wang Lei, Ye Ziofen, Zhang Qingshan, He Tian, Huang Jingli and other literate young people from the city were all assigned jobs by Village Chief Chi to teach people under the age of 20 in the village. He Jingyu and Wang Shuping usually have to work and have no time. Village Chief Chi and Chi Shulai, 2 literate people, taught literacy to men over 20 years old in the village. Most people in Kijia village participated in literacy. On the first day, those who were illiterate at least recognized their own names. Professor Wang and Professor Gu were also very happy to see the villagers studying. Literacy is also a type of education. This is a good sign, maybe school will start soon, they just need to wait patiently. As the saying goes, winter is coming, can spring be far behind? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 435. 433. Some are older and stop learning after 2 days of study, some children are too playful and stop learning. The parents beat them with sticks, and the children are also sharp-tongued. If you can't read, why should you let me learn? Illiterate, but still marry a wife and have children. The adults couldn't refute what they said, so they could only pinch their noses, continue to learn, and set an example for the children. Because of the vigorous promotion of Village Chief Chi, Kijia village's literacy work is ahead of other villages. In order to encourage everyone, Village Chief Chi also used the remaining funds in the village branch to set up rewards. If you perform well, you can get prizes. There are kettles, faceplates, toothpaste, etc. Wang Lei, Zhang Qingshan, and even Huang Jingli have become much closer to the villagers because of their participation in literacy work. He Jingyu and Wang Shuping took more than 20 young apprentices and spent more than 10 days using cut branches to cut them and plant them in a plastic greenhouse. Because of last year's experience, even if the number of tasks this year is several times greater than before, we can still do it easily because we have more people. Everything in Kijia village is on track. That night, Qianchikan and Sun Xiao were looking at Daowen in Daowen. It was a bit cold in the room, so they lit a fire and started to warm themselves up, talking about things in the village. At this time, Qianchikan heard a sound outside. Shh, Qianchikan shushed, signaling Sun Sihao not to speak. Sun Sihao silenced himself and lay together by the window. There was a crack on the edge of the window. Qianchikan and Sun Sihao looked out along the crack. It was dark outside and couldn't see clearly, but the tinkling sounds could be heard. The sound sounds like a hammer hitting a stone, and it is man-made. Old Qian, do we want to go out? Sun Sihao was afraid. These people had tools in their hands. If they went out to fight, it would be very dangerous. Qianchikan listened carefully and said, There are several people outside. We can't beat them and can't go out. Hurry, hurry up and pretend to be asleep. Qianchikan heard footsteps approaching. Sun Sihao and Qianchikan quickly lay down on the wooden bed and covered themselves with quilts. After a while, two people by the window whispered softly, "Brother, do you want to kill them?" Another person pondered for a moment and said, "No, we may not be able to dig the tunnel today. If we kill them, someone will come up tomorrow and they will definitely find us. What should we do?" "Brother," the man asked, a little anxious, "what if they wake up, wouldn't it?" "Didn't you bring some poison?" the man said softly, "blow one on them to make them sleep better." Bring it," the man said, and then there was only the sound of a match being lit, and a puff of smoke was blown into the wooden house. Qianchikan and Sun Sihao didn't dare or want to move inside. Because those people were just looking for something, not like they wanted to kill people or alarm the villagers down the mountain. After a while, Qianchikan and Sun Xiao lost consciousness. After taking the drug, the group continued digging holes not far from the Daowen. The next morning, when He Jingyu arrived, Qianchikan and Sun Sihao were still sleeping. "Uncle Qian, brother Sun, wake up," He Jingyu was surprised. Logically speaking, it is impossible for the two of them to sleep until now and still be able to afford it. After a while, Qianchikan and Sun Sihao rubbed their eyes and finally woke up. "What's wrong with you? Are you sleeping so soundly at night?" He Jingyu said with a smile. "If you act like this, people will steal our peach tree, and you won't be able to hear it." Upon hearing this, Qianchikan remembered what happened last night. "Jingyu, we didn't mean to sleep like this on purpose. Someone blew poison into the house last night," Qianchikan said, "and now he feels scared when he thinks about it." "What's going on?" He Jingyu was shocked and turned to look at the peach garden. There were many peach trees and the greenhouse was not broken. Sun Sihao said, "Yesterday we were warming up by the fire and chatting. We heard noises outside. We looked out of the window." Sun Sihao and Qianchikan explained the matter again. He Jingyu frowned and said, "Come on, follow me over there and see why they came to dig holes in the middle of the night." "Will there be a treasure?" Sun Sihao said excitedly, "otherwise who would be so bored to dig a hole on the mountainside in the cold weather?" Qianchikan looked around and said mysteriously, "There are probably no treasures, but there may be ancient tombs. Many former emperors and generals liked to dig mountains into tombs. Maybe there are ancient tombs in this mountain." After hearing this, He Jingyu also felt that the possibility was very high, and they went to the place where the sound was made yesterday. There are dense withered grass all around, which has been camouflaged. If you don't look carefully, you can't really see that there is a hole of 50 centimeters directly under the withered grass. Although He Jingyu is not an archaeological expert, he can tell at a glance that this is a robbery cave. "Cave robbery?" Qianchikan was surprised. "It's really an ancient tomb." "Yes," He Jingyu said, "it's not safe here. Let's go down quickly and tell Secretary Qi to report it to the Cultural Relics Department." "Then, are we still here to guard the place at night?" Qianchikan said. "There is no difference between a tomb robber and a robber. Almost all of them are killed." He Jingyu thought for a while and said, "You don't need to come over tonight. Those tomb robbers will definitely become suspicious when they see that there is no one in our wooden house." Sun Sihao said, "If they jump over the wall and blow up the place with gunpowder, our Daowen will be even more dangerous." "Let's talk to village chief Qi first," He Jingyu said. "Now is not the time to show off as a hero." The three people went down the mountain and went straight to the village branch. Not long after village chief Qi arrived at the village branch, he saw He Jingyu coming with Qianchikan and Sun Sihao. His face was solemn, his heart skipped a beat, and he asked cautiously, "Someone is coming to destroy Daowen?" "No," He Jingyu shook his head, "I didn't come to Daowen, I came to rob the tomb." "Tomb robber?" Secretary Qi had just put down his doubts, and then became worried again. "Did I hear wrong, tomb robber?" Yes, you haven't heard, it's tomb robbery, He Jingyu said. We found a well-covered robbery cave not far from Daowen, and yesterday Brother Chien and Brother Sun were on duty at night, and heard those people. There was a ping ping pong pong sound, and they blew poison into the cabin, so they must have some evil intentions. But there are no treasures in our Kijia village, nor are there any big tombs of princes, Qi Shuliang said. Our ancestors have lived here for hundreds of years. We really don't know. You also said it was hundreds of years ago. Maybe the cemetery was hundreds of years ago or thousands of years ago, He Jingyu said. Whether it is a tomb robbery or not, it is true that someone is plotting evil. The most important thing now is to report it immediately. Otherwise, not only the things in the ancient tomb behind will be lost, but also our Daowen. Please subscribe to the original version and give me a reward. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 436. 434. He Jingyu is knowledgeable, and what he said should be credible. Oh, village chief Chi nodded repeatedly. I will ride my bicycle to the county town to report. After Secretary Chi returned home, he rode his bicycle to the county town. Qianchikan and Sun Sihao returned to the animal husbandry team. He Jingyu did not dare to go to Daowen alone, so he went home first and called Qi Shuming and Qi Shujian to go together later. Qi Shujian is a hunter, and there is a hunting rifle at home. At the critical moment, he can resist those tomb robbers. Dad, why are you back? Didn't you go to Daowen? He Tian packed up her things and was about to go to the animal husbandry team. Oh, I came back to get something, He Jingyu said. By the way, Tian, you should go to the animal husbandry team to work, don't go to the back mountain. Why? He Tian was puzzled. I saw a black blind just now, and I was so scared that I ran down the mountain. You, a girl, should not go up the mountain. Did you hear me? He Jingyu said seriously, hoping that his daughter would remember his words. Remember, He Tian nodded. It was a bit cold today, so it was better not to go to the back mountain. He Tian went to the animal husbandry team and heard Qianchikan and Sun Sihao talking about what happened last night. He Tian called the Snake King. The Snake King was not in the enchantment space now, but went to the cave. The Snake King was happily soaking in the hot spring, with He Tian's engagement jade pendant hanging around his neck. He asked lazily, what do you want to see me for? Snake King, I heard that a robber's hole was found in the back mountain. Can you see if there is an ancient tomb in the back mountain? He Tian asked in her heart, talking to the Snake King in her heart, and her hands kept chopping hay as fodder. The Snake King frowned, released his spiritual sense, and radiated around the cave. Oh, there is indeed an ancient tomb a few hundred meters away, with many gold and silver utensils and exquisite jade as burial objects. This is a complete ancient tomb, well preserved. However, when the Snake King's consciousness scanned the northwest corner, he found a long and thin hole. The hole clearly had traces of being dug by tools, which should be the robbery hole mentioned by He Tian. Yes, there is an ancient tomb in the mountain, and there is a robbery hole near Daowen, the Snake King replied. Do you want to take care of this matter too? He Tian shook her head and said, I don't care. Tomb robbers want money but not their lives. I dare not provoke them. You just need to ensure the safety of the villagers. We don't care about other things. Those things are not hers, she doesn't care. I haven't heard of ancient tombs in Kijia village in my previous life. Oh, that's good, it saves trouble, the Snake King said. There is no need to do such a laborious thing. When the Snake King's consciousness passed over the coffin, he was also surprised. Inside this golden coffin, there is actually another ice jade transparent coffin, in which lies a lifelike man, who doesn't look like he is dead, but like he is asleep. This person was about 50 years old, with long hair tied high and fixed with a hair crown. On the outside of a bright yellow robe was a jade garment made of jade pieces. A slight cool breeze came from the jade garment, and it was mixed with rich spiritual energy. What's wrong, Snake King? He Tian felt the emotional fluctuations of the Snake King, and guessed that the Snake King saw something special. Nothing, the Snake King said, and could not wait to explain to He Tian. The Snake King entered the robbery hole and crawled inside. It wanted to see why the jade garment on the man had spiritual energy. The jade garment had an instinctive attraction to the Snake King. Climbing, there was no way ahead. The Snake King estimated that there was about 20 meters left. These tomb robbers are also talented, and they can always find soft soil to dig a robbery hole. The Snake King also crawled into the ancient tomb in the direction of the robbery hole. When he got inside, the Snake King drew a barrier and moved forward slowly. Finally arrived next to the golden coffin. Gilu me. He Tian was anxious and kept calling the Snake King, but no matter what she did, she couldn't call the Snake King. The connection between her and the Snake King seemed to be cut off. He Tian was anxious. After finishing her work, she ran to the cave in the back mountain. The Snake King was really not in the cave. He must have found something good in the ancient tomb, so the Snake King went to the ancient tomb. He Tian looked for the robber's hole around, and passed by the robber's hole several times, but didn't find it, and was dejected. Tian, didn't I tell you not to come to the back mountain? He Jingyu scolded his daughter when he saw her. He Tian only thought about finding the Snake King, and had long forgotten what her father said. I heard Uncle Chien and the others say that there are tomb robbers here. I'm worried about you, so I came to see you, He Tian explained. Dad, let's go back. Don't stay here. It's broad daylight, what are you afraid of? He Jingyu said, your Uncle Shuming and Uncle Shujian are here, don't be afraid. Go back quickly and don't hang around on the mountain. Okay then, seeing that her father was angry, He Tian didn't dare to talk back, so she had to carry the bamboo basket down the mountain. Cabbage was planted under the peach tree. Seeing that his daughter had left, He Jingyu didn't stay idle either, and cut some dry grass to cover the cabbage. Chi Shujian squinted his eyes and saw people gathering in the distance. After speaking, he picked up his hunting rifle and aimed. He Jingyu, Chi Shuming stood beside Chi Shujian with a sickle. Shujian, it's me from a distance, the man shouted loudly, Sanchuanzi from Hujia village. Seeing that he was from Hujia village, Chi Shujian was slightly relieved and asked, why are you coming to the mountains behind our village when you are not hanging around behind your village? Haha, chasing a rabbit, we just walked and got here, Hu Sanchuan said with a smile. He is a hunter from Hujiakan. Oh, Chi Shujian agreed, then you should go back quickly, lest anyone sees you and thinks you want to destroy our peach garden. Hu Sanchuan smiled heartily and said, okay, I'll leave right now. Hu Sanchuan called the hunting dog to go back, but after turning around, the smile on his face disappeared and became gloomy. Chi Shujian doesn't hunt, but he goes up the mountain with a shotgun, so he must have noticed it. Hurry back and tell the boss that their whereabouts seem to have been exposed. If I had known, I would have killed those two people last night. Hu Sanchuan reached the depths of the dense forest and found a cave with several people inside. These people had a smell on their bodies. If they often go to the cemetery, they will have such a smell. Brother, we seem to have been exposed, Hu Sanchuan said. I just saw 3 people guarding the Daowen in Kijia village, and there was also a hunter with a gun. 3 people, the skinny man was like a big rat in the dark, with a sharp mouth and monkey cheeks, and a sharp voice. Yes, boss, their location is right opposite our robbery hole. If we go there now, we will be discovered immediately, Hu Sanchuan said. Boss, what should we do now? The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 437. 435. After hearing this, another man came over and said in a loud voice, Boss, why don't we kill them? Anyway, we will dig in soon. After we get the things, we will leave. After weighing the pros and cons, Boss Lu shook his head and said, we can't act recklessly. If we kill those people, it will definitely attract the attention of the villagers. This ancient tomb is very special. We only have one way out. They blocked the way out. It's all in there. What should we do? Hu Sanchuan asked. We have spent so much effort, if we can't get something out, wouldn't it be in vain? Why did you come here in vain? Boss Lu sneered. Zhao Si, get some more intoxicating drugs and stun those people again today before going down. One night is enough for us to do our thing. But boss, those people seem to have noticed something strange, Hu Sanchuan said. If you take the drug again, do you still need to use it? After hearing this, Boss Lu shook his head and smiled, and said, so what if they know? There are at most 2 shotguns in the village. We have 7 brothers with 7 guns in our hands. How dare we be afraid of them? Boss, what I mean is that if they find something, report it to the county, wouldn't we cause trouble? Hu Sanchuan said, when I went out today, I saw Secretary Chi riding a bicycle towards the county seat. Maybe it was because of this matter. Haha, don't worry, those big men are not that fast, Mr. Lu said, they won't send anyone here for 3 to 5 days. Really? Hu Sanchuan said in surprise, if that's the case, that would be great. We don't have to kill anyone, and we can still get things. When those bullshit archaeologists come, leave them an empty tomb. Haha, let them work in vain, everyone laughed. Okay, let's eat something and have a good rest. We'll start working when it gets dark, Boss Lu said. They worked at night and had to rest well during the day. He Tiantian was kicked off by He Jingyu and felt very worried. Gilo gilo me, gilo gilo me. He Tiantian muttered as she walked down the mountain, hoping that the Snake King could reply to her. But when he got home, He Tiantian still couldn't contact the Snake King. He Tiantian doesn't do anything without thinking. Let's say that the Snake King lay on the golden jade clothes, absorbing energy, and his body continued to grow. The original golden color gradually turned red, and the color became darker and darker. As the Snake King continued to absorb the spiritual energy, the jade pieces on the man's golden jade clothes pop. Pieces turned into powder. The Snake King was suspended in the air, and the time for the 2 jade pieces to shatter became shorter and shorter, becoming more and more dense. For a time, the entire tomb was filled with powder from broken jade, spreading everywhere like a heavy fog. After the last loud noise, the sound of broken jade stopped. More intense spiritual energy surged into the Snake King's body. The Snake King's body expanded violently, and his bright red skin burst, and drops of blood oozed out. The blood was spread on the powder in the tomb, forming a blood mist. The Snake King kept his eyes closed, and the jade pendant on his chest emitted a pure white light. I don't know how long it took, but the blood in the air returned to the Snake King's body bit by bit, until the last trace of blood was absorbed. The Snake King crawled out of the thief's cave. It was already dark outside. The Snake King did not return to Hetianation's barrier, but came to the cave and began to practice, suppressing the surging spiritual power in his body. The Snake King got into the pool, and in just a blink of an eye, the water in the pool was already bubbling, turning into boiling water, and pieces of mist rose from the water. He Tiantian was worried at home. At night, she ran to Village Chief Chi's house to ask what was going on. Village Chief Chi, what do the county say? He Tiantian asked, feeling uneasy in her heart, as if something was about to happen. Not long after Village Chief Chi returned home, he sighed and said, I heard from Brother Niu that he will report to the leaders of Hawaii City tomorrow, and I don't know when I will get a reply. I will send a few more people to Daowen to watch in the evening, in case there is really something wrong. The tomb robbers are here. Oh. So that's it, He Tiantian felt disappointed. Reporting to each level was complicated and the procedures were cumbersome. She didn't know when someone would be sent over. Yes, as you know, the leaders will have a meeting recently to inspect the river works, so how can they bother to care about these things? Village Chief Chi said. Besides, there have never been any big figures in the history of our place. Many people I don't believe there are any cemeteries here that have to be dug up. Even native-born locals like Village Chief Chi don't believe it, let alone those knowledgeable leaders. Village Chief Chi's trip was in vain. That's right, he Tian nodded, came out of Secretary Chi's house, and went home directly. It was already dark outside, and he Tian was very worried when she saw that her father had not come back yet. He Tian returned to the house and started calling the Snake King. Gilu me. He Tian called the Snake King again. At this moment, he only saw a bright light flashing in the distant sky. This light is white, but mixed with red, and it goes from far to near, giving people a chilling feeling. After about 7 or 8 seconds, the bright light passed in the direction of the back mountain. There was only a loud click sound, and the red light behind caught up with the white light, making a deafening noise. He Tian could even feel the ground shaking and the furniture in the room shaking. He Tian hurried out to find Grandma Chi-san in the house and said, "Mom, Grandma, come out quickly, it seems like an earthquake." Wang Shuping quickly came out of the kitchen, and he Tian also helped Grandma Chi-san out. "Oh, what's going on?" Grandma Chi-san frowned. "It's winter now, why is there such a loud thunder?" "Yeah, it's really strange." Wang Shuping frowned. "Foster mother, look." Wang Shuping pointed to the distance, and there were 2 more lightning bolts, one white and one red, approaching from far away. It was obvious that the red lightning at the back was faster. It caught up with the white light in front at the back of the mountain and collided with each other. The sound was louder than before. Ring. He Tian immediately understood that the Snake King was going through a tribulation. Not an earthquake. He Tian took 2 umbrellas and said, "Grandma, Mom, I'm going to give Dad an umbrella." "Tian, don't go out." Wang Shuping shouted from behind. It doesn't matter if her husband catches a cold in the rain, but her daughter can't go out at night. "It's okay, Mom, I run very fast." He Tian finished speaking and ran away. Wang Shuping was cooking. She couldn't live without people and was so anxious that she stamped her feet. At this time, Village Chief Chi passed by with 2 villagers. 15 chapters and 30,000 words have been uploaded. Thank you all for your genuine subscription. Please give me a monthly ticket and a reward. Thank you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 438. 436. Outside the door, Village Chief Chi started shouting. "Is Jingyu at home?" Village Chief Chi asked. He wanted to ask He Jingyu some questions. After all, He Jingyu was an expert. Although he is engaged in agriculture, he is knowledgeable and better than farmers like them who throw food in the fields. Wang Shuping saw Village Chief Chi coming over and said quickly, "Lao, he is not at home, but still in Daowen." Tian saw that it was thundering and it was going to rain soon, so she went to deliver an umbrella to her father. "I was cooking and couldn't leave. Chi, can the village chief help me find Tian? This damn girl is so angry and disobedient at all." Village Chief Chi originally came to go up the mountain with He Jingyu. When he heard this, he quickly said, "Okay, I'll take someone there right now. You stay at home with third aunt, there's no need to come out." "Thank you very much," Village Chief Chi Wang Shuping said gratefully. "When her daughter comes back, she will scold her, this stinky little girl." He Tianation's speed was impressive. As soon as Village Chief Chi left the village, she had already reached the foot of the mountain. He Tian was very familiar with the road to Daowen. Even in the dark, He Tian could walk on flat ground very fast. Seeing that there were lights inside the wooden house and there were no signs of fighting, He Tian did not go in, but went to the cave first. He Tian entered the cave and was dumbfounded. The body of the Snake King is many times larger than before. It has become as thick as a bowl of the ocean, and its body is blood red. The water in the pool is rolling and tumbling. He Tian stretched out her hand and tried it on it. It was piping hot, no different from boiling water, even hotter. The Snake King is really going through a tribulation. He Tian didn't dare to move and looked at the Snake King silently, hoping that the Snake King could get through this disaster as soon as possible. Just when He Tian was praying devoutly for the safety of the Snake King, the Snake King suddenly opened his eyes and flew into the sky with a roar. Because of the angle, He Tian couldn't see outside, so she quickly climbed out of the cave and looked up at the sky. 3 consecutive bolts of lightning, one white and one red, once again approached from far away, but this time the lightning seemed larger than the previous 2, covering the entire sky behind the mountain, and struck the Snake King with 3 clicks. Ouch, who? A shrill but powerful voice came from the sky. At this time, Village Chief Chi came up and shouted, "Sweet girl, sweet girl." They were walking very fast, but they didn't see He Tian, and Village Chief Chi was a little worried. He Tian happened to be near Daowen. When she heard the shouting, she hurried over. "I'm here." He Tian knew that her mother asked Village Chief Chi to find her. If she found out that she didn't go to the cabin, she would be very worried, and maybe more people would be mobilized to look for her. It's too dangerous on such a night with thunder and lightning. Seeing He Tian coming over, Village Chief Chi said with a smile, "You girl, you run very fast. Come on, go into the house. I think the sky is a bit strange. It's going to rain soon." Oh, He Tian nodded and followed Village Chief Chi in. When He Jingyu saw his daughter coming, he immediately said with a serious face, "It's so late, what are you doing here?" He Tian took the umbrella to the front and said, "Give Dad an umbrella." Crashing. It was pouring rain outside, hitting the roof and windows, making a continuous sound. "Hey, you," He Jingyu frowned, but seeing that his daughter was also worried about him, he didn't feel comfortable scolding her in front of everyone. Village Chief Chi stepped forward and said with a smile, "Okay, let's not talk about this for now. It's raining tonight. I think those tomb robbers won't be able to do anything in the next 2 days. Yes, when it rains, their cave will get flooded or get damp, which is unsafe. No one can come out if they are buried in it." He Jingyu said, "By the way, what do the county leaders say?" "Hey, the leader said that we will report tomorrow. As for when people will be sent over, we don't know yet. We can only pay attention to it ourselves." Village Chief Chi said with a bitter face, "Fortunately, this heavy rain has come well and can alleviate it. It's just winter, and it's thundering. The red and white lightning looks scary." "Who says otherwise? This battle is really evil," Chi Shuming agreed, listening to the sound of raindrops on the roof. "Brother He, is our house okay? It's thundering outside, and there are trees around us. Is it unsafe?" "No," He Jingyu said, "when I was building the house, I had already considered the possibility of rain and thunder, and had already installed lightning rods. My wooden house is made of real materials, so it will be fine." "Dad, haven't you eaten yet?" He Tian asked. There was no smell of food in the room. "Just now we saw a few figures around, and we kept staring." "They haven't eaten yet," He Jingyu said. "Now that we are here, you can't leave even if it rains. Let's cook for the uncles first." "Okay," He Tian agreed, holding an umbrella and going to the small kitchen outside. He Tian washed the rice and prepared to cook rice porridge with some pickled side dishes. He Tian turned over a few sweet potatoes, threw a few on the bottom of the pot, and grilled them. He Tian's dessert caught fire, so he walked to the kitchen door and looked outside. Seeing this, he was so frightened that he sat down on the ground. 4 streaks of red and white lightning came from the 4 directions of southeast, northwest, and approached the Snake King in the center. "Snake King, you have to hold on," he Tian put her hands together and silently prayed to the Snake King. The 4 thunderbolts did not hit the Snake King continuously, but at the same time. It can be seen that the strength is several times greater than before. The Snake King staggered a few times in the air, let out a few long groans, and soared in the air again. Let's say that in the cave, Boss Lu and Hu Sanchuan, who were about to set off, heard thunder and were startled. After doing this, the most taboo thing is rain. Not to mention that when it rains, the cave is not strong and can collapse at any time. At the same time, the humid air, muddy ground, matches, and torches are mostly unusable, and more importantly, they will leave their footprints. Even though they were in the mountains, leaving traces would most likely reveal their identity. "Boss, are we still taking action tonight?" Hu Sanchuan asked. "There are stars in the sky, it doesn't look like it's going to rain." Boss Lu stood at the entrance of the cave, looking at the white and red lightning in the sky, and felt a bad feeling in his heart. Over the years, his ability to become the boss is closely related to this feeling. "Several times, I had this feeling." He made arrangements in advance or changed the original arrangements to save the brothers from losses, so he was very prestigious in front of the brothers. "No, we can't take action yet," Mr. Lu said. "Let's see if it rains." "If it rains, today's action will have to be cancelled." The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 439. 437. There were 3 thunders in a row, but it didn't rain. There were even stars in the sky. Everyone thought it was a dry land mine and it wouldn't rain. However, just after walking about a mile, there was another burst of lightning, followed by a heavy rain, which scared Boss Lu so much that he ran back with his head in his hands. Fortunately, these thunder and lightning were only in the air and didn't strike the ground, so there were no casualties. "Boss, it's weird tonight," Hu Sanchuan said. "Can we only cancel the operation now?" Hu Sanchuan's tone was a bit regretful. That was the most suitable route they had worked hard to find, and they had dug for so long, but it was going to be destroyed by this rain. "How can we go in such a heavy rain?" Boss Lu said unhappily, standing at the entrance of the cave, looking up at the sky, wanting to see the weird thunder and lightning and heavy rain tonight. It didn't matter when he looked at it. Among the flashing small lightning, he actually saw a long thing rolling in the sky. "Ah," Boss Lu was shocked, "there is a dragon." In everyone's impression, the legendary dragon is the one who can call the wind and rain, so Boss Lu couldn't help shouting out. The few people behind had just lit the fire, and when they heard Boss Lu's voice, they also ran to the entrance of the cave to see. But at this time, the lightning had disappeared, and the sky was dark, with thick black clouds, and nothing could be seen. "Boss, are you dazzled?" Hu Sanchuan asked. "Don't be futile and superstitious." "Old San, when should you stop being so arrogant?" Boss Lu said. "Others may say this is superstition, but people in our line of work have seen a lot of strange things. It's not superstition, it's awe." Hu Sanchuan was stunned, thinking of a tomb he had robbed before, in which there was a corpse wearing Qing dynasty official uniform in the coffin, covered with white hair, but the appearance was lifelike. Boss Lu said it was a zombie, but it was young and couldn't move. So they did a good thing, poured a can of gasoline, and burned the zombie to ashes. "Yes," Boss Hu Sanchuan said. "It is better to believe in such things than to believe in them." Just when everyone was silent and depressed, Boss Lu pointed to the sky and shouted, "Look!" At this time, 5 white and red lightnings gathered in the middle in the direction of a 5-pointed star. "Oh my God, when did these lightnings become so obedient?" Hu Sanchuan stammered, as if they had agreed. They moved to the middle together. Boss Lu was shocked and said, This may be a dragon crossing the tribulation." He was sure that what he saw was a long thing, very similar to the legendary dragon. Since it was crossing the tribulation, it was probably still a dragon, not a dragon. Only when the tribulation was successfully crossed, it was called a dragon. Crossing the tribulation, Hu Sanchuan and others were stunned. They had seen many myths and ghost stories, and they were very familiar with these two words. Yes, look carefully. Boss Lu pointed to the place in the sky where 5 lightnings gathered at the same time. Crack, with a loud noise, the sky was illuminated. The lightning and thunder, crackling, hit a huge animal. The Snake King in the air suffered unprecedented pain, struggling in the air with a hissing sound. It is much more difficult to survive in the human world than in the demon world. At that time, at least there were parents protecting it and sharing some of the pressure. But now it can only rely on itself. Rely on itself. However, it hurt too much, and it wanted to give up. But it thought of He Tian Tian below. In He Tianation's heart, it is the omnipotent Snake King and her hope. If it gave up like this, even if it would not die, it would at most be a snake with a little magical power, which was not worthy of the supreme inheritance on it, and it also failed He Tianation's hope. Ah! The Snake King used a violent roar to relieve the pain in his body. All this fell into the eyes of Boss Lu, and he was surprised. This is definitely a spiritual object, more useful than those dead objects in the tomb. Maybe eating its meat can prolong life, even if it doesn't make you immortal. Boss Lu licked his dry lips, his eyes flashing with greed. He hoped that this spiritual creature would fail to pass the tribulation, so that he could pick it up. All the mind and will of the Snake King were resisting the pain in his body. He had to concentrate because there was one last wave before the tribulation of the 6th-day Black Thunder could end. He Tian Tian also saw the scene in the sky and trembled with fear. At this time, He Jingyu came over and saw his daughter's lost soul. The fire in the pot went out, thinking that his daughter was scared. Tian Tian, if you are afraid, come inside, don't stand at the door, He Jingyu reminded, and pulled his daughter inside. He Tian Tian followed her father's pull and went to the kitchen. Tian Tian, what's wrong with you? He Jingyu saw his daughter's ugly face. Hurry up and speak, don't scare Dad. He Tian Tian swallowed her saliva and said, Dad, it's okay, I was just scared by the thunder and lightning in the sky. He, if you don't go out, you won't be afraid. He Jingyu smiled. Oh, I smell the smell of roasted sweet potatoes. You are so stupid, I don't know if it's burnt. He Jingyu peeled it open to see, half of it was cooked, and the other half was not cooked, so he turned the sweet potato over. He Tian Tian was worried about the Snake King, and she was not interested in her favorite roasted sweet potatoes. Tian Tian, what's wrong with you? He Jingyu asked again. Did he encounter something dirty? Although he is an atheist technology worker, when faced with his daughter's anomaly, he thought of those superstitions. I'm fine. He Tian Tian smiled and swallowed the words. Just now she almost couldn't hold it back and told her father about the Snake King. However, thinking of the Snake King's awkward temperament and its previous promises, He Tian Tian finally decided not to tell and help the Snake King keep the secret. The sweet potatoes were roasted. He Jingyu took one, peeled it, handed it to his daughter and said, what you like most, eat it while it's hot. He Tian Tian took the roasted sweet potato and took a bite. The warm and sweet potato felt warm in his stomach, and He Tianation's cold body regained some heat. At this moment, the sky was bright outside, almost lighting up the back mountain. He Tian Tian hurried to the door. This was the 6th thunder and lightning. The last one, Snake King, you must hold on. He Jingyu was also frightened and followed his daughter, walked to the door and looked up at the sky. Village Chief Chi and others also discovered the abnormality and opened the doors and windows to look outside. At this time, the people in the back mountain, not only Village Chief Chi, He Jingyu and his party, but also the wave of tomb robbers, could see the scene in the sky clearly. Although it was very high, everyone visually saw that the long animal kept roaring and shuttled through the clouds. "Sorry, I caught a cold this morning and went to the hospital. I originally wanted to use my mobile phone to modify it, but the phone was not charged at night and I couldn't modify and upload it. I started modifying it when I got home." The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 440. 438. The scene in the sky made everyone stunned. "This." He Jingyu stammered in fright, "Have you seen this before?" "Yeah," He Tiandian nodded, unable to hide it anymore. "No wonder you were so scared," He Jingyu said, "don't be afraid. Such a spiritual creature will not easily hurt us small humans." He Tiandian nodded. Although the Snake King had a bad temper, he kept clamoring all day long to bite this one and that one, but in the end no one was bitten to death. In fact, He Tiantian didn't know that when the Snake King was in the United States, he killed many people for her. In addition to often scaring He Tiantian, the Snake King will never let go of anyone who hurts He Tiantian, even those who can bite him to death. So this time, his tribulation came too suddenly, and at the same time, it also felt the wrath of heaven, which was punishing it. The last wave of thunder tribulation was more than the previous 5 combined. The Snake King hesitated. He Tiantian had a blood connection with the Snake King, and she felt the Snake King's timidity and pain. He Tiantian put her hands together and muttered silently in her heart, "Gila Gilamai, Snake King, please hold on. We have overcome so many difficulties, and we can survive this time. Don't be afraid, use your will and body to resist. Don't be afraid of the blow from heaven, you still have me. Even if you drink all the blood in my body, I won't complain. I just hope you can survive it safely." He Tiantian is a woman who must repay kindness. When she said these words, she thought of her parents, her grandmother, and Huo Yingjia. All of this was given to her by the Snake King, and she didn't want to lose it. However, people cannot only care about themselves and ignore others. The Snake King is no longer a snake, he is a little doll, a chubby doll of flesh and blood. The Snake King's body paused as he received He Tianatian's words. It cannot be given up like this. If it gave up like this, or disappeared into ashes, then everything about He Tiantian might disappear. Maybe He Tiantian is still the poor old woman, a weakling who was bullied. Not only does it have to survive, it also has to survive this thunderstorm and become strong, so that it can have a chance to become a truly omnipotent Snake King. The Snake King looked back at He Tiantian. At this time, He Tiantian opened her eyes and saw the resolute Snake King. With just one glance, the Snake King strengthened his belief and soared into the sky, turning into a dot. He Jingyu was stunned. He stood next to his daughter and saw clearly that it was a dragon with horns growing out of its head. "That's right, it's a dragon. Daughter, did you see it?" "That's a dragon," He Jingyu said excitedly. He was worried that he was dazzled. "I saw it too, I saw it too," others in the wooden house also said loudly. Even though He Tiantian didn't answer, He Jingyu confirmed from other people's words that all the scenes he saw before were true. If you don't succeed, you will succeed. The Snake King made his choice. He Tiantian couldn't help, she just thought that the only useful thing on her body was the so-called holy blood. If you want to get more holy blood, you must eat and not go hungry. Instead of doing nothing and looking at the sky, she might as well eat first, hoping that the food would turn into useful holy blood in her body as soon as possible. He Tiantian turned around and went to the iron pot where the rice porridge was boiled, and filled 3 bowls in a row to cool down. While waiting for the white porridge to become warm, He Tiantian ate 2 sweet potatoes and drank 3 bowls of porridge in one go. He Jingyu and the others did not eat, they were all staring at the sky. Just because the distance was too far, they could only see the lightning striking the black spot, and the rest was not clear. The sound became more violent, and the air was even filled with blood and a burning smell. The strength in the Snake King's body gradually disappeared, the pain blurred its consciousness, and it had reached its limit. However, it vaguely knew that it could not give up, could not give up. Every minute and every second is torture. The Snake King was like a headless fly, its body staggered in the air, and almost fell down several times, but it relied on its will and rushed into the air again. This happened several times. Even though they were far away, He Jingyu and others could vaguely see something. Village Chief Chi Shuming and others were so frightened that they knelt on the ground and kowtowed. Although He Jingyu did not kowtow, he was still deeply shocked. He Tian ate and drank enough, waiting for the Snake King's tribulation to end. The last thunder and lightning lasted for a full hour. The Snake King has experienced the most painful calamity in his memory. The white and red light in the sky dissipated and turned dark again. The heavy rain outside was like a broken bead curtain, pattering on the ground. The rain was heavier than before, and the Snake King's last bit of consciousness guided it to the sky above the cave. Then he had no more strength and fell hard and quickly into the cave. Bang bang. A loud noise came from the cave. Because it was relatively close to Daowen, He Jingyu and others were shocked and fainted. He Tian did not faint because she had the same blood as the Snake King. He Tian was shocked when she saw her father fainted, and quickly stepped forward to test his father's breathing. My father was breathing normally, but fainted, and his heartbeat was normal. The same was true for others, and He Tian was relieved. Thinking that the Snake King had just fallen, He Tian felt uneasy and ran towards the cave, regardless of the heavy rain that was falling. Just as He Tian rushed towards the cave, Boss Lu and his party also started to take action. "Boss, it's raining so hard outside, should we go now?" One of them was a little scared. Boss Lu turned around, squinted his eyes, and said grimly, "You also saw it, it was a spiritual object, and finally fell from the sky. Even if it doesn't die, it can still be seriously injured. This is such a rare thing. If we get something from this spiritual creature, even if we can't live forever, we can still live longer." Hu Sanchuan always supported Boss Lu and said, "Boss is right. We often deal with dead people, and some of them live to be 100 years old. Now that we have such a great opportunity, wouldn't it be a pity to let it go? Don't you go?" "I go." Boss Lu looked at Hu Sanchuan and nodded with satisfaction. The authority of being the boss is never to come forward to reprimand others, but to have the younger brother next to him understand his thoughts, stand up for him, and say things that he is too lazy to say or is inconvenient to say. When everyone heard this, they thought it made sense. Doing what they did was inherently risky. Taking some risks now is nothing. We listened to the boss, others agreed. The person who was afraid before saw that everyone was going and it was unreasonable for him not to go, so he changed his mind and supported Boss Lu's decision. A group of people walked through the woods wearing raincoats and bamboo hats. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 441. Chapter 441. Don't cry, you will all die. 439. Although it is dark and the roads are slippery, these people have been out in the field all year round, working at night. It's not as smooth as walking on flat ground, but it's not slow either. It usually only takes 40 minutes to get here in Daowen, but now it actually took 1 hour and 10 minutes. During this time, He Tian had arrived in the cave. The barrier here has disappeared, and it's pitch dark inside. He Tian can't see clearly what's going on. Remembering that there were torches and matches in the cave, I quickly went to a dry place and lit the torch. He Tian used to deal with rabbits and pheasants, so he had firewood, so He Tian lit a fire to make the cave brighter. Sure enough, after the fires and torches were lit, the cave lit up. Only then did he Tian see the Snake King who had fallen into the pond. His flesh and blood were all bruised, the bones on his back were exposed, and his tail was burnt. Snake King, you have to hold on, I'll prepare holy blood for you right away. He Tian walked to the edge of the pool and touched the Snake King's head. Then he took out a Swiss Army knife from the space barrier, roasted it on the fire a few times to disinfect it, and then cut it at the point on his ankle. Every time the Snake King absorbs the holy blood, it is always in this position. The Snake King was unconscious, so he Tian could only open the Snake King's big, bloody mouth, and put her ankle close to the Snake King's mouth. 1 drop, 2 drops, 3 drops. The Snake King didn't respond. He Tian became anxious and stabbed her again. She didn't know if it was on an artery or somewhere else, but there was more blood anyway. This was the first time that he Tian consciously provided holy blood to the Snake King. About a minute later, he Tian felt as if the ankle placed near the Snake King's mouth was bitten. He Tian took a closer look and was overjoyed. The Snake King opened his eyes. Snake King, drink quickly, he Tian said, drink more and you can recover. The Snake King's body cannot move, the only things that can move are his eyes and Snake Nobuko. The Snake King was exhausted. If he Tian hadn't come over, the energy absorbed in his body, without the reconciliation of the holy blood, would have exploded and died soon. Fortunately, she is here. But at this time, the Snake King needed a lot of holy blood. Seeing he Tian's face getting paler, it wanted to stop, but it couldn't control the energy in its body and could only watch as he Tian's vitality gradually weakened. The Snake King cannot speak or move. It doesn't want he Tian to die. If it is destined to fail, then just let it die on its own. This is its fate and destiny. But the Snake King tried all his methods and could not cut off the connection with he Tian. Seeing he Tian getting weaker and weaker, the Snake King could no longer control his tears and left 2 lines of tears. Don't cry, he Tian could feel the changes in her body. Her life was given by the Snake King. Even if she died, her parents were still alive and well, which was already good. He Tian reached out and wanted to touch the Snake King's head, but she had no strength and could only lower her hand. At this moment, the jade pendant around the Snake King's neck once again emitted a dazzling light, cutting off the Snake King's connection with he Tian. The Snake King finally spit out he Tian's feet. He Tian felt very tired and fell into a drowsy sleep. The Snake King could feel that he Tian was still alive and felt slightly relieved. There is already a lot of holy blood in its body and it must be cultivated immediately. I saw that the Snake King's thick body recovered quickly under the nourishment of holy blood and spiritual power. About an hour later, the Snake King's physical body had completely recovered. When he still wanted to continue practicing, a few people who were not afraid of death slowly approached outside the cave. Boss, I can vaguely see the light of fire inside. Is there anyone here? Hu Sanchuan whispered, feeling a little nervous. Boss Lu stepped forward and noticed it too. By the way, where are the people in the wooden house? Boss Lu asked, thinking that the people there discovered this place first. Boss, I just went to check and all the people in the wooden house were stunned. A person from behind whispered, it shouldn't be the villagers. Boss Lu became even more excited. Let's go in and take a look. Boss Lu loaded the bullet and took the shotgun. Others followed suit. Sanchuan, you're out there for fun. If anyone comes over, kill them immediately, Boss Lu said before taking the people in. In their line of work, it is necessary to leave a trustworthy person behind. Because the Snake King was exhausted just now, the barrier here disappeared, so these people could enter smoothly. The Snake King's body was completely immersed in the pool, looking at these small and greedy humans like clowns. Boss, look, why is there a woman lying there? A man asked in surprise. Is that a female snake spirit? Boss Lu's eyes fell on He Tian at the edge of the pool. Her fair ankles were exposed in the air. Although her delicate face was pale, she was an out-and-out beauty. If Hu Sanchuan were here, he would definitely recognize him as He Tian Tian, an educated youth from Kijia village. However, Hu Sanchuan didn't come down, so no one knew who the girl was. "Boss, don't go. Snake spirits will confuse people, drink human blood, and eat human flesh." When another younger brother saw Boss Lu walking forward, he was so frightened that he grabbed Boss Lu. Mr. Lu laughed and said nonchalantly, "Even if you are a snake spirit, you are still a snake spirit that has been injured. With such a good-looking appearance, even if you are a snake spirit, I will not hesitate to be a Su Xian." When the Snake King in the pool heard this, he was very angry. If his mana hadn't been restored, it would have killed these people when it discovered them. Now we can only wait for them to get closer and then kill them together. Everyone saw Boss Lu walking up to the woman. Nothing happened. They became bolder and followed her. When they focused on He Tian Tian, a mist filled the cave. "Boss, why is there fog?" several people exclaimed. However, it was too late. They had already inhaled the mist, their bodies became limp, and they collapsed to the ground. Boss Lu is no exception. Although they cannot move, their consciousness is still there. At this time, the Snake King poked his huge head out of the pool, with 5 or 6 centimeters of horns on his head. "Dragon, Jiaolong." Boss Lu stammered, and then looked at He Tian Tian, becoming more certain that this was the snake spirit. "Everyone must die." After the Snake King finished speaking, he closed his mouth, moved his throat twice, and then sprayed some purple-red liquid substance from his mouth. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 442. 440. The liquid was sprayed on these people, and only bursts of tingling sounds were heard. Red gas continued to emit from the bodies of these people, and then the bodies of these people turned into purple-red gas at a speed visible to the naked eye and floated into the air. These people watched their bodies turn into gas, and were so frightened that they peed their pants, and some even died of fright. "Sanchuan, save me!" Boss Lu roared, hoping that Hu Sanchuan outside could hear him and come to save him. When Hu Sanchuan heard the boss's hoarse voice of fear, he shivered with fright. He instinctively wanted to run away, but thinking of Boss Lu's vicious methods, he had no choice but to go down. If he escapes this time and Mr. Lu escapes this disaster, he will never let him and his family go. His whole family will die in vain. But when Hu Sanchuan arrived in the cave, he saw Boss Lu, who had been dissolved and more than half vaporized. Then he looked at the scary Snake King. He was so frightened that he turned around and ran away, not caring about Boss Lu behind him. The Snake King couldn't move, so he just squirted a mouthful of purple-red liquid, which happened to fall on Hu Sanchuan's arm. Hu Sanchuan didn't care about anything else and kept crawling out. When he got out of the cave, he found that half of his arm was gone. Hu Sanchuan was also a ruthless man. He took out the machete on his waist, looked at his arm, and cut off the purple-red liquid that spread all over his body. Ah, Hu Sanchuan was about to faint from the pain, but he knew not to faint. If he didn't bandage, he would die of excessive blood loss sooner or later. After barely bandaging up, Hu Sanchuan hurried down the mountain, not daring to stop for a moment. He Tian Tian vaguely heard the screams. When she opened her eyes, she saw only a few heads left on the ground screaming heartbreakingly. Who is this?" He Tian Tian was very weak and her voice was very low. However, the Snake King had been paying attention to He Tian Tian and still heard He Tianatian's words. "Dead man," Snake King said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone except Hu Sanchuan turned into red gas. The Snake King opened his mouth and blew hard, and all the gas and the unpleasant smell disappeared. He Tian Tian was already pale, but when she saw the dead person, her face became even more ugly. "Don't be afraid, I won't harm you," Snake King said, "you are fine." "Oh," He Tian nodded. If it weren't for the Snake King, maybe she would have been bullied. Thinking of this, the guilt in her heart disappeared. After taking several deep breaths, He Tian felt some strength in her body and reluctantly sat up. Snake King, have you survived the 6 heavens of mysterious thunder? He Tian asked hopefully. The Snake King shook his huge head, nodded and said, yes. But I have to go into seclusion to practice, and I can't protect you recently. It's okay, I have family who can protect me. He Tian said, are you practicing here, or in the barrier at my ankle? Here Snake King said, I can't move or transform. Oh, He Tian nodded, then I won't disturb you anymore. You practice well. I hope you can get out of seclusion soon. Okay, Snake King agreed. He Tian stood up unsteadily and said, then I'm leaving. He Tian picked up a stick from the ground and held it in his hand as a crutch. Watching He Tian leave, the Snake King had an uncontrollable emotion in his eyes. Just when He Tian was about to climb up, she heard the Snake King whisper from behind, thank you, Tian. He Tian turned her head, smiled, and said, no need to thank me, we are best friends. He Tian spent all her strength and finally climbed up. She reached the wooden house with 1 foot deep and 1 foot shallow. She lay down directly on the firewood pile on the kitchen stove and fell asleep. The Snake King felt bitter in his heart when he heard the words best friend. Yeah, they're just friends. It doesn't want to think so much anymore, it needs to practice well. He Tian risked his life to wake it up, it can't waste it. The Snake King concentrated on his cultivation, and the energy gathered in the air on the back mountain continued to flow towards the cave. By 5 o'clock in the morning, the Snake King had repaired the boundary of the cave, leaving only the gap above for spiritual energy to flow in. At dawn in the morning, Wang Shuping took several villagers up the mountain. Last night, there was so much noise in the back mountain that she couldn't sleep all night. If there are men in the family who go to the mountains, they are very worried and rush to the mountains before dawn. Wang Shuping saw her husband sleeping at the door of the kitchen with some grass on his body. This was what He Tian covered her father with before he fell asleep. She really didn't have the strength to drag her father inside. Lao He, Lao He. Wang Shuping shouted several times, then saw her daughter sleeping in the pile of firewood, and called her daughter again, Tian Tian, Tian Tian. He Tian opened her eyes in a daze and saw her mother. Then she looked outside and saw that it was already dawn. At this time, He Jingyu also woke up and held his head in his hands, trying to relieve the pain in his head. What's wrong with you? Wang Shuping felt relieved when her daughter and husband woke up. Why were they sleeping on the ground in a pile of firewood? He Tian scratched her head and said, we were stunned by the thunder yesterday. Only then did He Jingyu vaguely remember what happened yesterday, and whispered, Shuping, tell me, you may not believe it. We saw a dragon going through the tribulation yesterday. Upon hearing this, Wang Shuping pinched He Jingyu's arm and said angrily, you're still awake, right? Really, I really saw it? If you don't believe me, ask Brother Dazu and the others, He Jingyu said dissatisfied. It was definitely not a dream. Chi Dazu and the others also woke up under the calls of everyone, talking about what they saw last night. Chi Dazu, He Jingyu and others went to the place where the Snake King fell yesterday, but there was nothing. However, they firmly believed that their eyes were right and thought it was a divine dragon appearing. They knelt on the ground with a plop and kowtowed 3 times, praying that the divine dragon would continue to bless Kijia village. Qi Shujian was a hunter with amazing observation skills. He hurriedly said, village chief, look. Qi Shujian found a shotgun in the grass. Is this yours? Qi Dazu asked, having doubts in his heart. No, this is not mine, village chief Qi Shujian said, my shotgun is still in the house. It seems that someone must have come over when we fainted yesterday. Look at these footprints. Didn't they just step on it? Secretary Qi was puzzled. Chi Shujen shook his head and said, "The people who came from the bottom of the mountain are from our village. If you look at some of them, it is obvious that they came from the west. Although it has rained, these footprints are still there. If you don't believe it, let's follow the footprints and look for them." Okay, village chief Chi and others didn't care about eating, they couldn't wait to look for it. After searching, they arrived at the place where Boss Lu and his party stayed in the cave. There are not only clothes, but also pots and pans, various long and short shovels, a few detonators in the corners and other messy things.